Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sensei Duval. You're listening to another edition of Martial Arts Weekly. Tonight's guest we have Anshu Christa Jacobson of the Budo Ninjutsu Dojo. Christa Jacobson is dedicated to teaching authentic ninjutsu. She's a World Martial Arts Hall of Famer. Aside from technical excellence, she is also an expert in martial arts history, tradition, lineage, and has helped in various areas of study for the Ninjutsu Historical Society. She has founded the Ninjutsu International Federation and is the editor-in-chief of the Shinobi no Mono magazine, the only magazine distributed worldwide that is dedicated to the art of ninjutsu. So without any delay, we want to introduce to the Martial Arts Weekly family, Anshu Christa Jacobson. How are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Let's just start right from the beginning. What is actually ninjutsu, the study, the art of?
Actually, that's a very, very, very good question. I'm glad you asked that. What ninjutsu is not, and this is where people get the miscue of what ninjutsu is. They think that ninjutsu is hand-to-hand fighting, and ninjutsu has absolutely nothing to do with hand-to-hand fighting whatsoever.
Okay.
Did ninjas train in hand-to-hand fighting? Well, of course, sure. But ninjutsu itself is it's the art of stealth. It's the art of war. So there is really no fighting technique. It's espionage, stealth, assassination, going in with covert activities, a lot of things to do with fire, gathering information. That's kind of the idea. It has nothing to do with, me in front of someone.
Okay.
So when you train in ninjutsu, you're training in this idea of warfare. And the person that you're fighting is really not really looking at you face to face, which is what most people would see as martial arts.
Okay.
So, ninjutsu, that's what ninjutsu is. Now, when you study ninjutsu, you're going to study multiple other martial arts with that, the collection of ruha, that will make you more of a well-rounded warrior itself.
Okay, so now part of your Budo Ninjutsu Dojo, there are 7 traditions. And,
yes, there's 7 traditions.
Yes. Just kind of share with us, or if you can, break down the 7 traditions of the Budo Ninjutsu Dojo.
Sure. Well, we have Tenjin Ryu, and Tenjin Ryu is a samurai tradition, and it focuses, even though it's called Jujutsu, the Tenjin Ryu Jujutsu, or gentle art of the heavenly divine, it focuses more on the samurai Bujutsu aspects. So a lot of Yari Jutsu, which is spear, staff fighting, Naginata, there's Kenjutsu, swordsmanship. The focus of training is on Jujutsu, or the unarmed combat. That's what it's known for, but there's many other aspects in it. That's what we call them traditions, not so much martial arts.
Okay.
So the 7 traditions that we teach, they're not specifically 7 martial arts, and I think that's where people get the miscue. Oh, we teach 7 martial arts, and that's not true. So inside Tenjin Ryu, there's lots of different type of arts within itself. And then we have Muso Jikuden Eishin-ryu Iaijutsu, which is quick draw. Iaijutsu means quick response. So the idea, this wasn't something that, again, the misconception, if you carry a sword, it was on the battlefield. Iaijutsu was not specifically meant for the battlefield. It was more, if you will, a feudal-era form of self-defense. You're wearing your sword, and if you were jumped or if you were attacked, you would pull your sword in a very quick manner. So the idea of the quick draw became an art in the mid-15th century in Japan. And so Iaijutsu, or Eishin-ryu Iaijutsu, is one of our traditions. We'll have Kokoryu Kempo, which is strongly Kosei Ha Kempo, and that's method of fist fighting. So it's not, quote, like Kempo karate, what a lot of people think of, but it is an empty-handed fighting method of fighting. So if you're not really if you can't really look at a martial art and tell what they're doing to make it different, you might see this as just a hand-to-hand fighting method of fighting.
Okay.
We also have Koryu Jutsu, which is a linear style of hand-to-hand fighting that focuses on bone-breaking technique. And the bone-breaking technique itself, it's not specific like you think of like in Jiu-Jitsu where you lock somebody out, that's not what it means. Bone also means structure. So it's structure breaking. You break their structure to open them up so you can attack the enemy or at a weak point. And its counterpart school is called Gyokoryu Koshijutsu. And Gyokoryu is another hand-to-hand fighting system that focuses on circular motion and striking the muscles or the nerves, soft points, and to open them up to then finish you off. The other arts that we have within the school, we have Makaryu Ninpo Taijutsu, and this is an art that's very. A lot of people say Togakuryu Ninpo Taijutsu is ninjutsu, and there's definitely ninjutsu elements in it, but there's also other things too that Toshitsugu Takamatsu had added within the school. Okay. So with that, there's a lot of taijutsu aspects, and like I said, taijutsu is not ninjutsu. Taijutsu means empty-handed fighting or body art of the body. Okay. So that's not ninjutsu. Although you would train in it, it's still not ninjutsu. And then we also have Moru Shinobi Jitsu, and that itself is the ninjutsu school of what we have here at the school. It focuses strongly on stealth, fire element, water element, using the earth, the surroundings to camouflage yourself, to gather information, to carry out missions, and that type of training. So each one of these traditions that we have specifically have its own aspect towards warfare. They're not, one isn't stepping on another foot. It wouldn't be like studying two different kinds of karate. Okay. They overlap each other.
So you have the 7 traditions. In order for you to, let's say, for someone to obtain a black belt ranking, would they have to know all 7 traditions of the art form?
Yeah, they study. You study in the Budo Ninjutsu Dojo. You're studying the 7 traditions. Okay. That's part of training, and you would know up front, like when you're in 9th Q, you would have a page, and you would know, I need to know this from this row, this from this row, and this from this row. Okay. So it's not like mixed martial arts where we're taking a little bit of each one of these arts. You're learning 7 complete traditions. I see. Because that's kind of how it was in the feudal era. You would learn as much as possible so that you could get on the battlefield or take everything you can so you can carry out a mission. So you don't want to just learn, okay, well, I'm just going to do the punches from this art and the takedowns of this art. Right. And the fact is, you're going to end up, well, what do you do when there's a knife or a gun or something else? You're going to need to know how to defend yourself in all realms. Okay. Now,
your ranking system is as far as black belts, it's not a ranking system as a Dan ranking. It's licensed.
Well, it is Dan ranked. The licenses, before the Dan ranks were established, before the belts were established, previous to that, you had the Minkyos. You had Minkyo Shoden, Minkyo Chuden, Minkyo Okuden, and Minkyo Kaiden. Okay. Now, many people, depending on what Ryu you're from, because each Ryu kind of has their own way that they established this long time ago. So there's different ways to describe it. So I'm going to describe it the way I understood it and the way I teach my students. Okay. When you take an old school and you look at Minkyo Shoden, the first scroll of the school, if you chop all the information up, that's basically what they need to do to get a black belt. Okay. If you take your Minkyo Chuden, Chudan means like level, middle level. It's kind of like a 5th degree. So you take all that material and you chop it up. That's equivalent to a 5th degree black belt. Okay. And then you have the Okuden. Okay, the Kuden is like verbal transmission, the higher part of it. So then you have you chop all that up, and that's your 6th or 10th degree black belt. Only 3 people are allowed to learn the Minkyo Kaiden level, and those would be the successors of the school. So when all these schools with the do in it, karate do, judo, aikido, kendo, all these arts that were after World War I were established, the do arts. I believe judo started the belt ranking system. Yeah. When that had happened, everything became Q ranks and Dan ranks. So they kind of went away with the licenses and then established the Dan ranks. Okay. We do the Dan ranks and the Q ranks for all the students here, but the students that's trained specifically with me will also get ranked in the traditional arts here with your Minkyo level. I believe there's a practice of Zen, and how important is Zen in martial arts? I tell it through stories. And through the stories, they get the same meaning of a Zen cone. An example would be like, a drop of ink will make a million think. Well, this was the story that I was telling my students all week long. Hey, a drop of ink will make a million think. Well, you could think about that in the realm of someone who actually wrote a scroll, or you write a book, and then a lot of people could read it. but also that drop of ink is just some sort of information that you're putting down for someone to hear.
Yeah.
That same idea and philosophy of that Zen cone is what we're doing right now. This conversation we're having is a drop of ink, and it might make a million think and understand the martial arts a little bit more clearly as to what we do.
True, absolutely. Tell us how you came about developing the Budo Ninjutsu Dojo, and then the I don't know if I can rightfully say organization of the Budo Ninjutsu.
That's a great question too. First of all, I would like to say this. We have the 7 traditions. I studied way more martial arts other than that. And I think a lot of people who are enthusiasts in the martial arts have put their foot in a lot of different arts and said, yeah, I don't like that, or, oh, I like this one, but it's for me.
Right.
So I have studied other arts other than these 7 traditions. And there was a point in time where I just got fed up with all the organization and political crud. There's so much out there. I mean, to be quite honest, it doesn't matter what organization you're with. There are what I'm going to call the diehards in every organization, right?
Yes,
and in that organization, they think that what they're doing is better than anybody.
True.
And they're willing to go to talk trash online or this whole thing. So I just got so tired of the political crap with the martial arts. So what I did was I said, I'm going to figure out how many arts do I like? Which ones do I really like? Which ones really focus on what made me a person that I am today? And there was the 7 arts. These are the 7 traditions. And I thought, and as I got a little bit more established with Japanese culture, I was thinking, well, oddly enough, we have these 7 traditions that I'd like to make into a school to share with this, because I'd like to teach and share anyone who wants to learn the martial arts. These are the 7 that I'd like to teach.
Right.
And there's also 7 gods of happiness. So it's kind of ironic in that sense of, okay, this is the realm that I want to go.
Okay. Now, you also study weapons in your system.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a lot of weapons that you teach and train. What are your favorite? What's some of your favorite weapons?
Well, also, that's great. I love the sword. I think that the Japanese sword, or the katana, to me is the ultimate weapon in my opinion. It's wielded by you, the warrior, and then it's just like a stroke of a brush. You're putting a stamp on the enemy or the opponent with your hands.
Right.
So definitely I'd have to say the katana. The Japanese sword is by far my most favorite. Cool, though, we have over 50 weapons. If you want to count tools also, there really isn't a difference between, samurai weapons and ninja weapons. That's another misconception. Like, people think the ninja threw shuriken and the samurai didn't.
Oh.
It's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Every weapon that you've seen a ninja carry in a movie or something like this, of course, if it's a historical weapon, the samurai use the same thing. Kasoryo gama, the canes, the staffs, the hanbo, the kama, tanto, wakizashi, short swords, shuriken, bow, hira, and all these different things. The samurai also use the same one. So it wasn't like, if you study these weapons, you're now ninja. That's another big thing. You have these people that saying, if you do this, you're ninja. It's not true. This is the way the ninja fights hand to hand. Well, it's not true. And there's no ninja, there's no hand-to-hand in ninjutsu, and there's no really specific weapons. Now, what there are specifics in ninjutsu is tools. For like arson or breaking and entering, to carry out missions, they would have different weapons that they would carry, hot coals so they could start fires. There were tools that were specific towards ninjutsu, but not a weapon themselves.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, very well. Very good. This is very good information. I love it. You founded the